Philip is with us now, along with Salma Yaqoob, who's the leader of the Respect Party. Welcome to the programme. Can I just start with you, Philip Hollobone? Just clarify for us, what is your particular problem? You gave a list of reasons, but is it about security, purely concealing identities, and if so, where do you draw the line? Or is it about gender equality?
It's about covering one's face in public. In Britain, in this country, we don't cover our faces, and wearing the burqa...
You say in Britain we don't cover our faces. You make this remark, but what do you mean exactly?
Well, here we are on a television talk show where we're being interviewed and filmed. If we were all had our faces covered, it'd be an extremely dull and boring programme, and 75% of the visual communication between us is to do with facial expression. If my face is covered, if your face is covered, it wouldn't nearly be so enjoyable.
So you're saying it's something you don't like, and it's something that's disagreeable, but that's not a big enough or a good enough reason, is it, really, to make a law to ban it, to make it illegal?
Well, those who are covering their faces are effectively cutting themselves off from the rest of us. And if we're going to have a society where we all get on with each other, we have to have normal, human, interactive dialogue.
So it's about community relations, it's about relationships between people, it's not strictly about religion or about gender equality in that sense?
Well, actually, religion actually doesn't come into it, because everyone's agreeing that the burqa and the niqab are not religious requirements.
Well, Salma Yaqoob, what do you say to that point, that actually the burqa is divisive? It divides society, hinders community relations on both sides.
Well, I would take a step back and say, you may well not like it. You may well feel offended by it. You may be scared by it. I'd be surprised, quite frankly, that you feel so threatened by it. But that is your right to feel like that. But what I would say is we must draw the line in having those feelings and then saying, well, actually, just because I feel like that, you are not allowed. And I think that is an abuse of state power. So for me, it's not saying we must all like everybody's choices. Inevitably, we'll have differences. You know, I might like fish and chips one night, prefer a Chinese another night. You know, it's all British. But to start imposing such restrictions, I think actually is very un-British and intolerant and goes against
and it's a very flawed argument, because where are you going to draw the line next? If your argument is that it prohibits natural communication between people, are you going to stop people using Botox next? Are you going to stop plastic surgery? Where are you going to draw the line?
Well, what about that? I mean, some of the viewers have written in to say, what about people wearing the balaclavas and the hoods as they were in the riots in Northern Ireland? What about people wearing other items of clothing, motorcycle helmets, whatever, that block the face? If that is the sort of crux of your opposition.
Well, you make a very good point there, Joe. In Northern Ireland, were my bill passed, those people in that demonstration covering their faces would be committing a crime by doing that, and that would actually help the police deal with those protesters. On the motorcycle helmet point, if motorcyclists are required to take their helmet off if they go into a shop or a bank, why shouldn't there also be a requirement for those wearing the burqa or the niqab?
And isn't that reasonable?
Divisive. This is incredibly divisive, because if your argument is the covering of the face, why haven't you included other coverings? Why have you specifically gone for the burqa?
What else?
Well, he hasn't. I mean, Philip Hollobone, I understand you would include all masks, all face coverings in that sense. So I mean,
in that, been on record to say really he has.
But sorry, on that basis, isn't that a valid point? People do find it threatening, as you say. People do find it difficult, and in that basis, in terms of business meetings, wouldn't it be reasonable for people to say, could you remove your veil?
Well, when it comes to security issues, let's address that first. There's no question whether it comes to passport ID, going on the bus to show the bus conductor or driver your ID. No question, and that is already the state of play. So it's not the case that women who choose to wear the niqab are somehow treated in a special or different way. Everybody has to be treated equally.
They have to show their face.
They have to show their face. And that is right and proper, and there is no debate about that. And it's a false argument to bring in the security issue on that. And let's remember this, it's a tiny minority. Of a minority, I'm a Muslim woman, I obviously choose not to wear it. I have my reasons for that, but that doesn't mean then that I should then say, because I don't choose to wear it, and I personally may not like it, that I will then say to other women, you are not allowed to wear it. And to be honest, I felt quite upset that you invoked Emily Pankhurst in the way that you did. And quite frankly, what would Emily Pankhurst make of a 21st century male telling women what they can wear and what they can't wear?
And on that basis, somebody has written in to say, make the same point. I mean, we're talking about actually not that many people here, Philip Hollobone, but we're talking about 1 million Muslim women in Britain. Only a few thousand are estimated to wear a veil. Isn't it a bit of a blunt instrument?
Well, it's the only instrument available to me as a backbench MP to table legislation in Parliament, and the government's welcome to refine the proposals in any way it wishes if we can get the legislation through.
Philip,
But other
you
countries...
have 2 women in the whole of your constituency who wear a hijab. Considering the cuts that this government's imposing, that is the greatest threat to community cohesion.
Okay.
600,000 public sector jobs going, God knows how many private sector.
Salma Yaqoob,
You're
we're going to
bringing
have to
division
finish it
into
there.
our society, not a few women who choose to wear a piece of cloth.
Thank you both very much.
Producer said if I covered my face, it'd be good for the rating of this program.
Great face for radio.